What questions to ask when you're choosing an agent? Are you a full-time or a part-time agent? Obviously, there's a difference between somebody who only spends the weekends on real estate and somebody who is doing it 24/7. For example, you have an inspection at 9 a.m. on a weekday and you want your agent to be there. Turns out they can't because they're working 9 to 5. Can you connect me with 2 clients that worked with you and bought their house or sold their house with you? Make sure to read all the reviews online and Google reviews and all the other kinds of reviews and all the testimonials. What was the most challenging transaction in your life and how did you handle it? Usually the challenging situations happen when both sides they cannot agree on something. For example, is the purchase price. So they are $50,000 apart and then we negotiate, they come close, and then the last $5,000 they cannot agree on and nothing works and everybody's upset. How do you deal with that situation? So the challenge is to calm people down and show them logically, help them to think about it logically and see if they want to move forward or not. And finding innovative solutions to the problem. The next question is, how many houses have you sold? Now, if your agent says 50 plus or 100 or 200, you already know that they are going to be extremely busy and they might not give you as much attention as you require. The next question that comes from that is, are you in a team? Are you a team lead? Now, you might have connected with that person a lot. Like, do you like them? They're charismatic, they're very knowledgeable. And then when you're ready to go to look at houses, somebody else shows up and you say, what's happening? I thought that this is my agent. Well, people work in teams sometimes and there's nothing wrong with that. So the team lead might give you another agent to work with, but make sure that you talk with that agent and that you are comfortable with that agent. It's better to know ahead of time what you're getting and talk to the person that is going to be there helping you all the way. And I have to say, there's a company that their structure is you meet with an agent and then you want to see a house, another agent shows up. And then you want to see another house, another agent shows up. And the inspection is a totally different agent. And like every step of the way, you're not sure who is going to show up. So I personally wouldn't work with somebody like that because that's really nerve-wracking. You want one agent to work with you and you want them to be responsible and to be responsive, and so that you can rely on that one person, not chase different agents. You know, it becomes very complicated and I personally wouldn't want to go through that. The next question is, do you work mostly with buyers or sellers? Now, if somebody says they work mostly with sellers, 100% with sellers, do you want them to work as your buyer's agent and vice versa? You want them to be very knowledgeable in what they're doing the most. And a lot of agents do both. They both work with sellers and buyers, and that's completely fine. It's just important to understand. How responsive are they? You ask them, how frequently do you check your emails? How responsive you are when you get a call, you get a text. So that will determine if they will be responsive during the transaction. Because the worst thing is when there is something major and you're trying to call your agent and you can't find them. I had instances when I wanted to show a house and I called the listing agent and I can't get hold of them. And I'm thinking, what are they doing? Like the seller that hired that agent, did they know that it's impossible for a buyer's agent to go and show the house? It's just ridiculous. So it's important for the agent to be very, very responsive and accessible. What are the unique tools that you have that will help me in the buying process or the selling process? The other question is, what are your fees? Now, it used to be that we didn't have to worry about that, but now with some changes in the industry, if the seller doesn't pay the buyer's agent, then the buyer is responsible to pay the buyer's agent fee. Now, I need to talk about that because if the seller, well, I have to calm you down and say that 99% of the time, the seller is smart enough to pay the buyer's agent. And I say that because if they don't, a house will be on the market longer, it will be more difficult to sell. Many buyers have not saved enough money to cover their agent's fee. Home ownership should not be reserved for the privileged few, but that's a topic for another video. If the seller is not paying the buyer's agent, then it's the buyer's responsibility to pay their agent. So it's very important to know how much they charge and to negotiate if you can. The most important thing, you need to connect with that agent. You need to feel comfortable with them. So make sure you have that vibe going. Make sure that you have the personalities match, because you'll be working with them 3 to 6 months, the minimum. I get so attached to my clients. Even working with them 3 months, I get so attached and I want to call them and I want to talk to them all the time, but I know they have a different idea. If you're looking to hire an agent in your local area, reach out to me. I will be happy to connect you with an awesome agent in your local area. Want to know what houses not to buy? Watch my video next.